documentary, Enron, The Smartest Guys in the Room. After watching this special documentary that records the largest scandal happened in Wall Street, I have some feelings and thoughts about it, and I'll tell guys about it mixing with what I've learned in my accounting lessons. Before we get to know about the details in this issue, let me do a brief introduction about Enron to you guys, so that we can comprehend this issue more. Enron was a company majored in electricity, natural gas, communications, and pulp and paper, which was merged from Kinsley, the founder and CEO of Enron. Here's two small regional companies in 1985. In its most brilliant moment, it has employed approximately 29,000 staffs and was named with America's most innovative company for 6 consecutive years by Fortune, one of the most famous economic magazines in the USA. In the pre-merger period, Illinois, as known as one of Enron's predecessors, was a major force for natural gas production, transmission, and marketing, as well as for natural gas liquids, and was an innovator in the plastics industry. After the merge, Enron's early vision was to become the premier natural gas pipeline in America, but sooner, in 1987, two traders misappropriated money for making bets for Enron on whether the price of oil would rise or fall. An $85 million loss was reported in AK filings that year, but true loss about $142 million to $190 million was concealed until 1993. Ken Lay, CEO of Enron, neither dealt with this transaction beyond the limits nor punished those traders because he treated this as the only part of the combined company that earned money. In 1991, after Jeff Skilling joined Enron and became one of the CEOs, Enron started to adopt mark-to-market accounting practice, reporting income and value of assets at their replacement cost. And this practice was signed off by Arthur Andersen and approved by the SEC. Mark-to-market accounting practices allow Enron to make profit figures high on their financial statements to stimulate share price rise and market investment. Then Enron would get enough capital to continue this scheme again and again. Later, off-balance sheet partnerships and transactions will become a way for money-losing ventures to be concealed and income reporting to be accelerated. In the whole 1990s, Enron invested heavily in overseas assets, specifically energy. Also, Enron had been in the gradual transition of focus from a producer of energy to a company that acted more like an investment firm and sometimes a hedge fund, making profits off the margins of the products it traded. In 2001, after a series of revelations involving irregular accounting procedures perpetrated throughout the 1990s involving Enron and its auditor Arthur Andersen that bordered on fraud, Enron filed for the largest Chapter 11 bankruptcy in history, since surpassed by those the WorldCom during 2002 and Lehman Brothers during 2008, resulting in $11 billion in shareholders' loss. As the scandal progressed, Enron share prices decreased from $90.56 during the summer of 2000 to just pennies. Enron's demise occurred after the revelation that much of its profits and revenues were the result of deals with special-purpose entities, limited partnerships which it controlled. This maneuver allows many Enron's debts and losses to disappear from its financial statements. In the end, Enron set the record for the largest corporate bankruptcy with $49.8 billion. As Enron's accounting company, Arthur Andersen did not stop cooperation in time when faced with Enron's false accounts, but chose to continue to endorse Enron. When Enron faced bankruptcy, it's considered a serious breach of trust, and its CPA license and its right to practice were all surrendered before the SEC on August 31, 2002, effectively putting the firm out of business. Enron had been the largest corporate contributor to the first presidential campaign of George W. Bush, as known as Bush Sr., and a lot of politicians around Washington, D.C., and it also pushed aggressively in Washington to change all of the regulations of government about energy. When Bush Jr. was governor of Texas, he was happy to promote the deregulation of energy market too. In a word, the government's indulgence in subsequent market behavior and disorder, and the excessive trust in market liberalization are one of the main reasons for Enron's unbridled development. Because of the effect from Ken's original family and Jeff's arrogance, the entire organizational spirit inside Enron became pursue most profit at all costs, and it encouraged stock price analysts and other employees to trade high profits for high pay and dismissed employees who used traditional practices as conservative ones and fired them. And according to migrant experiment mentioned in the documentary, it shows that adults have a great willingness to obey those in power, and they will be willing to act on any scale as long as those in power promise not to make them take responsibilities for behavior that violates morality and law. That's the reason they caused California's electricity outage crisis. Ponzi scheme is not a model that can enable a company to develop stably for a long time. Once the market's trust in the company is reduced or the company's capital chain is broken, it can quickly lead to an avalanche of crises. In the process of administration and management, we must bear in mind the constraints of ethics and laws, and create a creative but not a stressful business environment.